Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here and you have no idea who I am, my name is Neliswa and I'm so glad to have you. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. So before we get into this video, for those who are new, please make sure you subscribe, share and like the video before we get into the video. So if you're watching this video, that means you want to find out on how to make money as a content creator on TikTok. You're either starting out as a content creator or you've been on the platform but you have not monetized it, and it's time for you to start making money. Before we get into all of that, I want to give you guys a background onto myself because I feel like it is very important in order for you guys to understand exactly how I end up here. I'm 32 years old. I started civil engineering right after high school. I left that. I went to study being a makeup artist. Now I do content creation as a full-time job. So as we speak right now, I am a full-time content creator and I make roughly around 40,000 rands a month just from TikTok alone. I post on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, but the only platform that is lucrative for me is TikTok, and I want to share with you guys. So the reason why I gave you guys that text about myself is because I feel like it's very important for young people that are thinking into going into content creation to still go on and pursue traditional education. Now, don't come for me, I'm not old school, but I do feel as though you can still be a content creator not full-time, part-time, and still have a full-time job. The reason why I'm saying this is because the decisions that we make today are very important in how our future ends up. And honestly speaking, we don't know where this will end up for us. We don't know where content creation will take us in the next 10 years. So it's very important for you to set a good base for yourself. Or if you feel like you really don't want to have a traditional job, it is very important to upskill yourself within this career. So if you want to be a content creator, it's best to go to school, learn how to edit, anything that you can hold on to and use if anything comes up that will make you not be able to create content or monetize creating content. Now let's get into why everyone is here. So for those of you that might not have knowledge on TikTok, in South Africa we do not have the creator fund. That means that the platform does not pay you to post videos. So 100% of my income is solely from brand collaborations, and that is what this video will be concerned about: collaborating with brands on TikTok and how to conduct yourself and how to carry your business into becoming successful and making money on a daily basis. I'm going to give you guys a couple of steps. Number one, if you want to be a content creator and you want to make money from it, it is important to have a vision. It's very important to know exactly who you want your audience to be. It's very important to know exactly the kind of brands that you want to target. This is important because it will determine the kind of content that you create. For example, for me, I do vlogs. I'm 32 years old, like I said earlier, and I want to target a certain demographic. So I want to target older audience, obviously. I'm not trying to get kids from high school. So that means that I want to post content that is relative to their everyday life in terms of my home. If I'm fixing up my home, if I'm doing outfit videos, I don't want to be wearing everything that's crop top or showing boobs, like whatever it is that I feel like I would want to be as a 32-year-old. That is the kind of content that I want to create. So how does that translate to you? That will also determine the kind of brands that are attracted to you. For example, if you decide that you want to target more of a higher end makeup brand, then you need to start creating content using products from higher end makeup brands. So if you want to align yourself with a certain kind of brand, you have to be within their demographic, because every brand has a targeted customer. So if you want to work with those brands, you have to be that targeted customer. I feel like I've made this clear enough. The kind of brand that you want to work with, that's the kind of content that you want to create. If you want to be more into the skincare area, you have to create skincare content. I feel like this is self-explanatory. So now that you have a vision of the kind of brands that you want to attract and the kind of audience, which is also the people that watch your content, you have a clear vision. The next step is for you to take content creation seriously. Now, TikTok can be a great source of entertainment, but we have to stop playing on TikTok, you guys. You can't only use TikTok for thirst traps. I mean, we do like them, we enjoy them, we love seeing your bodies and think, oh my goodness, I need to work out and look like that girl. But if you want to be taken seriously, you have to start taking yourself seriously as well. If you have a platform on TikTok, you cannot just post here and there. So firstly, you have to be consistent. Consistency doesn't necessarily mean you have to post every single day. You can have a schedule. Let's say you're a full-time worker, you do other things, you're a corporate girly, but you can still post maybe, let's say, 3 times a week or 4 times a week. That's the first thing. Secondly, you have to be intentional. I feel like content that is not intentional is very easy to spot. Even with my own content, if you go into my page, I feel like you can see when I started filming and planned out the content, as opposed to the content that I just decided on a whim. Okay, let me just do this. Because it translates in your videos. So if you wake up and you decide, oh, I'm gonna go out with the girls for lunch, but then you don't decide to film, it'll be very evident when you do post that vlog. Either you will just have a bunch of pictures that you can't do really anything with. You can post pictures on TikTok, true, but I feel like your targeted audience would most likely engage more with more of a video format, because even though TikTok does introduce pictures and slides, it's more of a video format platform. So if you decide that you want to go out with the girlies, you have to think of it ahead of time. You can either film you getting ready, you can either film you doing your outfit videos, or when you're leaving the house, you start off with an OOTD, outfit of the day. You show yourself when you're making your way to the restaurant, you show yourself at the restaurant, you show the outside of the restaurant, you show the menu, you show the food, the drinks, the waiter pouring you a glass of water, wine, whatever that you're doing. It will be very evident if you are intentional in creating content, and that is the most important thing. The more clips you have, the better, because that will mean that you'll be able to consolidate more information. Because let's be honest, content creation, you're just giving people information about your day or whatever it is that you are filming about. So the more clips that you have, the better it will be for your content. So now let's go on to step 3, which is communication. So this is where the money starts coming in. You have to put your email address in your bio. If you are a content creator and you want to attract brands or anyone to work with you, you have to put your email address in your description so that brands can know how to contact you. And I will also suggest that you create a separate email address that is dedicated solely to you interacting with brands. I started doing this before I even started making money. I started having an email address for my content creation business back in 2017, and I only started making money from this maybe in 2020. So even before I started making money, I anticipated that brands would want to communicate with me, and I created a channel that is solely dedicated to that. So you also have to do the same thing. Once the brands reach out to you, you have to absolutely have the knowledge on how to interact with brands. Remember, the people that reach out to you are in business. As much as they are brands, but they are business people. They're trying to get a service from you, and you have to be able to sell yourself. Well, first off, you've already done half of the job because you sold yourself on the platform. But secondly, you have to be able to sell yourself whilst communicating with them, because this is where the money comes in. It's very important to learn how to negotiate. I feel like maybe a lot of people might not know this, but when brands come up to you and they ask for your rate, or rather they come to you offering a certain rate, it is not set in stone. You can still negotiate with the brands. The brands expect you to negotiate. They don't really expect you to be like, okay, great, I'll take that rate, let's go ahead and do the collaboration. That would be great for the brand, because it means that they gave you the amount that they wanted you to accept, and you just accept it without any negotiations. But you can't do that. You have to negotiate. You have to know how much you are worth. Now, I make use of this platform called My Social. This platform is able to give you analytics. It states how many subscribers you have or followers you have. It states your engagement rate. It states your view rate. It states your like rate, or rather the number of likes, the average likes per video. You can use this to negotiate with the brands the amount that you feel like you are worth. And I cannot stress this enough, you guys. You have to know what you bring to the table, because that is the only way that you can negotiate with brands. If a brand approaches you asking to work with you and is asking for a rate, you have to know how much you want to charge per TikTok. And another important thing that you need to know is the terminology within the industry that you want to be in. There are so many things that you can learn in terms of how to negotiate for how much you want to charge the brand. So first off, you need to understand the deliverables of the collaboration, meaning what does the brand want from you? How many videos does the brand require from you? First thing. Secondly, you need to understand the rights. As in, like, do you own the rights to the video, or will the brand own the rights to the video? You also need to understand what kind of video is it. Is it something that you can do in the comfort of your home? Is it something that you have to go to a certain location to do? All of those things factor in to how much you charge the brand, which is why I'm saying it's important for you to understand the lingo. You have to do your research. You have to watch other creators who talk about such things so that you can understand. You go onto the table of negotiation, understand exactly what you bring to the platform and what the brand requires from you. To put it in simple terms, if someone is asking you for a service, you need to understand exactly what they want you to do in order to be able to charge them. I feel like that makes sense. If you are a makeup artist, you need to understand how many faces you're doing in order to charge them. If you are a gardener, you need to understand how big the yard is in order to be able to charge them. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. So you use my social to gather your analytics, you know what your rate is, you find out the deliverables, and then you communicate with the brand professionally. Like I said, this is a business, you guys. You have to absolutely take it seriously. You cannot just try to coast by and just say whatever to brands. If your brand is reaching out to you and you're not comfortable with responding to them, you can always use Google. You can use ChatGPT, literally one of the easiest platforms to use that will give you exactly what you need. You can just type in, "Hi chat, please give me a response to this email." You can copy the entire email, paste it on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will give you a response on how to respond. You can tweak it according to what you feel like you are worth. So if you feel like maybe you need to state your rate per TikTok video, you can include it in the chat prompt. Please include that my rate for a TikTok video is this much. And then chat will put it into that email, and then you can send it to the brand. So these are all important things. How you engage the brand is important. What you bring to the table, which you must know, because remember, these people are they're not trying to lowball you, but a brand will try to negotiate. Like I said, it's a business. So the easier, or rather the lower the price is, the better it is for them, which means they can probably get many more content creators to spread the word about their business. It's time for you to get paid. Once you've secured the deal, it's time for you to get paid. I use PayPal, so you absolutely need to have PayPal, which brings me to the point that you must not cry and be like me when South African brands do not reach out to you. I promise you right now, the money lies with international brands, not because they pay you more. Okay, technically they do pay you more, but for them, they're still paying you less than what they're paying the content creators in maybe America, the UK, in other countries, because the rand is weak. Let's just say that. So when you are creating content, be open to talking to international brands. Don't just go for the South African ones and target them. And the nice thing about TikTok is, in South Africa, as much as there are so many content creators and there are brands within South Africa that require content to be posted on TikTok, but mostly, if we're being honest, so many South African brands are still focused on Instagram. Mostly it's international brands that have really been utilizing TikTok for advertisement, which is basically what you are there for. You are there to advertise for the brands. So when an international brand reaches out to you, do not be apprehensive and not want to engage with them. Engage with them. They will pay you. I promise you, they will pay you via PayPal. So once you have your PayPal account, you also need to create a profile on FNB. That's how I do it. I'm not certain if you can do it with other banks, but I use FNB. So I'm not necessarily a customer of FNB, as in like I don't have an account with them, but I do have a profile that is linked to my PayPal. So once they pay you in dollars or in pounds, it doesn't really matter. You can now then transfer that money from your PayPal using FNB into your own bank account. So for example, me, I use Capitec, but my Capitec account is linked to PayPal. However, I cannot transfer the funds directly from PayPal into Capitec, so I have to utilize FNB as the middleman from PayPal to Capitec. That's how it works. Do not be apprehensive. That is where the money lies. 99% of my brand deals come from international brands. Like, I hardly ever work with South African brands. When I do work with them, I'm grateful, I'm happy because I'm part of the South African community of content creators. However, they don't want to pay. That is just the sad reality. They don't pay as much as international brands. I'm also going to point out that it could be because of my followers. I don't have that many. I mean, I do have a lot of followers. It's 130 now K. However, I do feel like maybe they are more receptive to paying with people with much bigger platforms. But for me, the experience that I've had with them, I really struggle to get them to pay me my asking rate. Most of them actually offer me less than half of my asking rate, and I'm okay with that, which brings me to my next point. So this is something that I learned from my admin job. I also do a little bit of part-time admin because I always try to explore all avenues to make money. So I learned something called the 70-30 rule. That means that if you are a business, 70% of your income is likely going to come from a place that you were not intentionally going for. What that means is, if you are a content creator and you have a certain asking rate, let's say for example your asking rate is $800, right? One TikTok video, $800. You most likely will not get that $800 with 70% of the brands that you work with, and you need to be okay with that. That $800 per TikTok video will only form part of 30% of your overall income. The other 70% will come from you being willing to compromise. So that means that if a brand comes up to you, they ask you, how much are you charging for? And they always ask, by the way, they'll ask you, how much do you charge for a TikTok video? You tell them, they might be like, sorry, we don't have that much. We can only offer you $200. Now, that is a huge gap from $800 to $200, but you have to be willing to consider it depending on what it brings to you, right? So you have to be willing to compromise. 70% of your income is not going to come from your asking rate. You have to be able to pick up small jobs here and there, and when you consolidate all of that income, you'll see that you're making so much money from the small jobs. It doesn't necessarily mean that the input is small, but if it brings value to your content, it is worth considering. For example, I worked with a lot of brands last year for hair. I love hair. I feel like I need so many different wigs because, well, I have to change up the style. I mean, I don't need to, but I like the idea of having wigs. Wigs are expensive. So if I had to take money from my own pocket to buy a weave, I would pay. So if I have to take up money to pay my own wig, I'd probably pay a lot of money. So for me, it was worth it to take brand deals from brands that are not offering me my asking rate. Now, there comes a time when you feel like a brand is lowballing you, like literally, or they don't see your value, which is ridiculous because the fact that a brand reached out to you in the first place, that means that they see your value. But then when they come to you, they'll try to lowball you. So there are times when you must be willing to compromise, and there are also times when you must be willing to walk away from a deal. I know that might sound crazy, especially for people who are starting out. So there might come a time when you might feel like this brand is not valuing my input, it's not valuing what I bring to the table, and you must be willing to walk away from the deal. If a brand is asking you to do so much work and they're not willing to pay for it, believe me, it is okay for you to walk away. And all of this needs to be done professionally. If a brand reaches out to you and they cannot give you your asking rate, they cannot give you 50% what you're asking for, but the work that is required in order for you to deliver the content is a lot, it is okay to say, I'm sorry, we don't seem to be aligning currently in terms of budget, and I feel like we perhaps have a better chance of working better together in the future. That is professional, that is polite. You're letting them know that you're not willing to do the work with the amount that they're offering, and you can just move on. Now we've explored every single thing that we possibly could have explored regarding brands, but now it's time for us to focus on the really important people, and that is your audience. Remember, none of this could have been possible without your audience. So this is my tip on how to deal with the people that watch your TikTok videos. Number one, you absolutely have to be the nicest and kindest person to your audience. Now, I'm not saying if you're a real person, you will not get the audience. You certainly will. Some people don't care. But for me personally, I feel like it is so important to show appreciation, to show love, to show that you care about your audience. Because let's be honest, the brands that reach out to you, they reach out to you because of that audience. So if people are commenting on your videos, you have to engage with them. That is one of my number one rules. I have to absolutely engage with my audience. Even when my videos are performing really well and I get a lot of comments, I try my absolute hardest to make sure that I respond to each and every comment. Now, sometimes you will get people that come into your comment section and say things that are not so nice. You have to be able to ignore that. Right? So firstly, you need to be able to anticipate that not every single person will like you, not every single person will come to your comment section with kindness, but you have to be willing to let that go. You do not have to confront each and every person that comes onto your comment section and says something that you do not like. Let it go, ignore the comment. If it is bothering you that much, go ahead and block the person, and then the comment will automatically be removed. Do not quote the comment and create a video of you giving the person your exact thoughts about Do not quote the comment and answer the person or give the person a piece of your mind. I know it probably is so enticing to tell the person exactly what you think of them, go into their profile, look the person up and give a clap back, but believe me, that will not do you any good. Remember my second point, you have to take this seriously. This needs to be a job to you. If you really want to make money from TikTok as a content creator, you have to treat it like a job. If you're in corporate and you are not getting along with your coworker, you don't stand there and start yelling at them and say exactly what you think of them. You don't do that. You have to act with decorum because that is required in the workplace. So you have to be able to assume the same persona on TikTok. I understand that you are your own boss and it's very easy to pick up your phone and say whatever it is because you're at the comfort of your home. It might not necessarily feel like a job, but believe me, you have to absolutely treat it like a job. You cannot be clapping back at people. I mean, some people do it and they still have a lot of following, but I would not advise that. Personally, for me, I don't feel like that is the kind of brand that I want to build on my platform. I don't want to be known as that kind of person. I don't want to be known as a person that, oh, don't say anything on her page because she'll get back at you. Personally, that's not what I want. And also, when you start doing that, I promise you it will not end. It's like you're just opening yourself up to more criticism and more people saying things about you. But believe me, when I started out my very first video that went viral on TikTok, there were so many people that were saying negative things, and mind you, I was getting a lot of followers at that time, so a lot of people were being introduced to me. So many people that were saying negative things, sometimes hurtful things, but I did not respond to any of them. Not even one person did I respond to, and I could see them having a conversation with each other in my comment section. I did not respond to one of them. But now if you go onto my comment section on TikTok, it's almost unreal how nice, kind the people are, because believe me, the negative people will filter themselves out the more you ignore them. If you don't ignore them and you give them attention, because that's exactly what they're looking for, they're looking for attention. Once you give them their attention, it will be a back and forth forever and ever. So if you just ignore it, they will filter themselves out. I literally do not get a negative comment on TikTok. Now, there's a difference between a negative comment and a person saying something that you don't like, right? A negative comment comes from a negative place with negative intentions. Sometimes people might say something that you don't like, but it's not necessarily a negative comment. You have to be able to differentiate, and you can't go around blocking each and every person that has something to say on your TikTok, because remember, that's what you want from your audience. You want engagement, and also you don't want yes people. You don't necessarily want people who are going to agree with you with each and everything that you say. So you must be able to distinguish between a person that is coming from a negative place, or just maybe a person that's saying something that you don't like, or even if they're not necessarily saying something that you don't like, but they're just disagreeing with you. And you have to be able to interact with all those different kinds of people, because that is truly how you build community. And I cannot stress this enough. The audience, the people that watch your video, the community is the reason why you'll be able to make money from TikTok. I feel like I've given you guys all my tips and tricks on how to start making money on TikTok, and I hope this video was very helpful. If you liked it, make sure to like it, make sure to share with anyone that wants to be a content creator or anyone that's already in the space that is not making money from it, and tell them to take it seriously. That is the word of the day. Take it seriously. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really love you. If you want more videos on how to create content, perhaps behind the scenes, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure to create all of that for you. Love you all. Bye.